It was a warm Saturday afternoon in late August, and the air buzzed with chatter, the scent of grilled burgers, and children's laughter. The Thompson family reunion was being hosted at Ella and Marcus's home this year, a big white house with a large backyard and a redwood deck, perfect for gatherings like this. Ella Thompson, 34, was a soft-spoken, graceful woman with a warm smile and eyes that noticed more than she let on. She had spent the last 2 days cleaning the house and preparing food to impress her visiting relatives. Her cousin Layla had flown in from Arizona, her first visit in over 6 years. Layla was the same age as Ella, bold, always the center of attention, and known in the family for her complicated love life. Marcus, Ella's husband of 9 years, was a tall, handsome man in his late 30s. He was charming, helpful with the barbecue, and attentive to everyone. Perhaps too attentive, Ella would later think. The reunion started like any other. Relatives arrived one after another, greeting, hugging, and laughing. Ella caught up with aunts, uncles, and cousins she hadn't seen in years. She helped Layla settle into the guest room upstairs, and they chatted over iced tea, but Ella began to notice small things throughout the day, things that others might ignore. Marcus and Layla seemed to share a few too many glances. At first, she told herself it was nothing. Maybe they were just being polite. But then, while bringing out a tray of lemonade, Ella caught Layla lightly touching Marcus's arm. It wasn't how family touched. It was softer, secretive. Later, when everyone was dancing, Ella stayed back to clean up the kitchen. She saw Layla and Marcus slip into the side garden, laughing. Her heart thudded painfully in her chest. She followed slowly, staying hidden behind the sliding glass door. She couldn't hear what they said, but she saw enough. Marcus held Layla's hand. She leaned into him. They looked like lovers, not family. Ella se quedó despierta esa noche, fingiendo dormir a su lado su marido. She stared at the ceiling, her mind racing. Questions filled her thoughts. How long had this been going on? Did anyone else know? Had their entire marriage been a lie? The next morning, Ella acted normal. She smiled during breakfast, helped clean up, and waved goodbye to relatives as they left. But behind her eyes, a storm was brewing. She had to know the truth, and she would find it. What started as a joyful family reunion had opened the door to secrets buried deep within the people she loved. And as Ella quietly plotted her next steps, she had no idea how far she would go once she confirmed what she suspected. After the reunion ended, the house felt too quiet. Ella moved around slowly, picking up empty cups, folding blankets, and sweeping the back deck. Marcus had gone out to run errands, saying he needed some fresh air. Layla had left that morning, but not before giving Ella a long hug and saying, "We need to catch up more. You're like a sister to me." Ella had smiled through clenched teeth. As she cleaned the guest room where Layla had slept, she noticed a black phone charger tangled in the bedsheets. She picked it up, then paused. There was a phone underneath the pillow, not hers, not Marcus's. It was Layla's. Her heart pounded as she held the sleek device in her hand. Maybe Layla had a second phone she didn't tell anyone about. Maybe she was in a rush and forgot it. Maybe this was fate giving Ella a chance to find the truth. She stared at the screen. It had a password. But when she tried Marcus's birthday, it unlocked. Ella's stomach twisted. She scrolled through the messages. The inbox was filled with texts from someone saved as M. The most recent ones were from last night. M. You looked stunning today. I couldn't stop staring. Layla. We need to be more careful. She's watching us. M. I don't care. I want you. Layla. Tonight, after they're asleep. Ella felt her breath catch in her throat. Her hands trembled as she scrolled further back. There were pictures, selfies of Marcus and Layla in a hotel room, blurry night shots from the park, even voice notes. They joked, they whispered, they made plans. The betrayal was deeper than she thought. 9 years of marriage, family dinners, holidays, and behind her back he was having an affair with her own cousin, the same cousin who shared her childhood memories, who once cried with her at their grandmother's funeral. Rage began to bubble beneath her skin. She snapped pictures of the messages with her own phone, then returned Layla's to its place under the pillow. She didn't want Marcus to know she'd found it, yet. That night, Marcus returned home with groceries and kissed her cheek. She forced a smile. "You okay?" he asked. "Just tired," she replied softly. "It's been a long weekend." As he unpacked the groceries, Ella stared at the back of his head, her hands clenched around the edge of the kitchen counter. She didn't know what she was going to do, but she knew this. She wasn't going to confront them right away. She was going to play along. She was going to get closer. Watch him. Watch them. Let them think they'd won. Let them think she was blind. But Ella wasn't blind anymore, and someone was going to pay. It had been 3 days since the reunion. Marcus acted like everything was normal. He kissed Ella in the mornings, sent her random texts during the day, and made dinner for the both of them that Wednesday night. He played his part well. Too well. Ella played hers even better. She laughed at his jokes, responded to his touches, and asked about work. But behind her eyes, she was always watching. Every move, every glance, every excuse. That night after they ate, Marcus said he needed to step outside and take a work call. Ella nodded, sipping her tea. But the moment he stepped out onto the porch, she picked up the second phone. Layla hadn't called yet, but Ella knew she would, and she did. The screen lit up with Layla's name. Ella held her breath and tapped answer, keeping the phone close so she wouldn't speak. "Hey, babe," Layla whispered, her voice soft and playful. "You alone?" Marcus didn't say anything. The wind blew through the receiver. "I miss you," Layla said again. "Can we talk? Like really talk?" A moment passed, then Marcus replied, "Not now. She's still awake." Ella's hand tightened into a fist. Layla chuckled. "God, she's always around." "You need to tell her, Marcus. I'm tired of hiding like a damn ghost. Don't you want to be free?" There was silence. Then Marcus said, "I just need more time. If we rush this, everything falls apart." "Then let it fall," Layla snapped. "You promised me." "I know what I said." Ella ended the call. She didn't need to hear more. Her chest burned with anger, but her face stayed calm. She placed the phone back where she'd hidden it. Later that night, Marcus climbed into bed beside her. She turned off the lamp and faced away from him. He wrapped his arm around her. "Love you," he whispered. Ella shut her eyes and forced a small smile. "I love you too." But inside, something had changed. She no longer just wanted answers. She wanted justice. She wanted to make them both feel what she felt. Betrayed, played, humiliated. The next day, she called Layla. "Hey," she said, faking cheerfulness. "I realized you left something behind." "Oh, really?" Layla sounded surprised. "Yeah, a small thing. I can bring it to you this weekend. Thought it'd be a good excuse to catch up again." Layla hesitated. "Are you okay?" Ella Rio suavemente. "Of course. Why wouldn't I be? We're family." "Right." Family. Ella's tone turned sweet. "See you soon, cousin." As she ended the call, her smile dropped. This wasn't just about cheating anymore. It was about betrayal. It was about blood. And blood always leaves a stain. Saturday came with cloudy skies and a light drizzle. Ella packed a small overnight bag, slid the forgotten phone inside a zipped pocket, and told Marcus she was visiting a sick aunt 2 towns away. He kissed her goodbye without asking many questions. Too easy. The drive to Layla's apartment was quiet. Ella played soft jazz on the radio, but her mind was loud. She had a plan now, carefully thought out over the past 3 days. She wasn't going to scream. She wasn't going to beg for the truth. She was going to end the story her husband and cousin thought they were writing behind her back. Layla lived in a sleek high-rise in the city. She looked surprised to see Ella at her door. "Wow, you really came," Layla said with a nervous smile. She was wearing a silk robe, her hair tied up in a loose bun. "You didn't have to drive all the way out here." Ella handed her the phone. "You left this under the pillow." Layla's eyes widened, but only for a second. She quickly composed herself. "Oh my God, I was wondering where that was." "Thank you. Can I come in?" Ella asked sweetly. "I brought wine." Layla hesitated, then stepped aside. "Sure." Inside, the apartment was cozy and smelled like coconut and vanilla. A romantic movie played softly on the television. They sat down, sipping wine in silence for a moment. Ella watched Layla closely. She didn't see guilt on her face, only fear. "You and Marcus," Ella said finally. "How long?" Layla blinked. What are you talking about? Ella's voice remained calm. I listened to your call the other night. I saw the messages, the pictures. You don't need to lie. Layla set her glass down carefully. Ella, I didn't mean for it to happen. I swear, how long? Ella asked again. Layla sighed. A little over a year. It started when I came to town last spring. Ella felt like her chest was caving in. A year? And all this time, you looked me in the eye, hugged me, called me your sister. I didn't want to hurt you, Layla whispered. You didn't care enough not to. Layla stood up and walked toward the kitchen. Look, it was a mistake. I ended it already. Marcus was the one who kept dragging it on. Ella followed her slowly. So now it's his fault? I never wanted him to leave you, Layla said, pulling a bottle of water from the fridge. I don't know. It just happened. You wouldn't understand. Oh, I understand perfectly, Ella said, pulling something from her purse. Layla turned and froze. Ella was holding a small silver knife. Not too big, not too long, but sharp enough. Her hand didn't shake. Ella, please. You took my life, Ella whispered. Now I'm taking something back. There was a scream, a struggle, then silence. The movie kept playing on the TV as the drizzle outside turned into rain. Ella stood over Layla's lifeless body, breathing hard, staring at the red on her hands. For the first time in days, her heart felt still. But it wasn't over. She had one more stop. Ella drove back home in the dark, rain tapping gently against the windshield. Her hands were steady on the wheel. The knife, wiped clean, sat wrapped in a kitchen towel inside her bag. Layla's body would be discovered eventually. Maybe tomorrow, maybe in a week, but not yet. No one saw Ella arrive. No one saw her leave. The apartment building had a faulty security camera at the front entrance, a detail Layla had once joked about during a family Zoom call. Ella had remembered. Marcus was already home when she returned. He looked up from the couch and smiled. Hey, babe, that was fast. Ella besó su mejilla. She was sleeping. Didn't want to wake her. Marcus nodded and turned back to the game on TV. Want dinner? Ella asked. I picked something up. He didn't even glance up. Yeah, sure. You're the best. She prepared the table, just like she always did. 2 wine glasses, cloth napkins, candlelight. The pasta she reheated was laced with crushed sleeping pills, enough to knock him out. They sat across from each other, twirling spaghetti, sipping red wine. How's your aunt? He asked. She's good, Ella said. Still tells the same stories from 20 years ago. Marcus chuckled. Sounds like her. She smiled and watched him. He looked tired. Or maybe it was just the pills starting to take effect. Within 15 minutes, Marcus rubbed his eyes. Damn, I feel weird. Ella stood and walked over, touching his shoulder. Maybe you should lie down. He tried to stand but stumbled, grabbing the edge of the table. What's going on? You're just tired, Marcus. He dropped to his knees. Ella, what did you... She crouched beside him and looked into his confused eyes. I know everything. He blinked, struggling to stay conscious. Wait, I can explain. You had a choice. You chose her. No, I never meant to hurt you, he gasped. Please. Ella held his face in her hands. You didn't just hurt me. You broke me. And when you break something, sometimes, it stays broken. He passed out seconds later. But she didn't kill him. Not yet. She took his phone and placed Layla's phone beside it on the table. Then she opened both. She sent all the photos, the voice notes, and the messages to his work contacts, friends, and family group chats. Every secret, every dirty exchange. She wanted everyone to see the truth. By the time Marcus came to, hours later, groggy and weak, it was all done. He sat up on the living room couch, sweating, confused. Ella stood near the door with her coat on, holding her bag. What did you do? He croaked. I showed them what you are, she said. Layla's gone. You'll be next. Marcus's eyes widened. What? What did you do to her? Ella abrió la puerta. Check the news tomorrow. Then she walked out, leaving him behind in the dark. He wouldn't run. He wouldn't hide. He'd be too busy trying to stop his life from collapsing until the police came, and they would come. It was Sunday morning when the first news alert broke. Breaking. Woman found dead in downtown apartment. Police suspect foul play. The body of Layla James, 34, was discovered by a maintenance worker after neighbors complained of a leaking ceiling. She was found in her living room with a deep wound to the chest. No signs of forced entry, no signs of robbery. By the time the local news covered it, police had already begun knocking on doors, questioning residents, scanning building logs, and checking phone records. Ella sat in a quiet cafe 2 towns away, her hood up, hands wrapped around a hot cup of coffee. She stared at the TV in the corner, watching the newscaster speak calmly about Layla's tragic and suspicious death. Her phone buzzed over and over in her bag. Marcus had called 12 times. He had sent her messages. "What did you do? They're asking questions. I need to talk to you, please. Layla's gone. I'm scared, Ella. They're going to think it was me." Ella no respondio. Back at their house, Marcus was spiraling. His phone was blowing up from co-workers and family members reacting to the messages Ella had sent. His secret was out. His affair, his betrayal. Every dirty word exchanged with Layla, now public. Worse, Layla was dead. He knew how this looked. His fingerprints were likely all over her apartment. His texts were enough to prove motive. And he had no alibi. By noon, 2 detectives knocked at the door. "Marcus Thompson?" "Yes," he said nervously. "This is about Layla?" They nodded. "Mind if we come in?" Inside, they asked questions. Routine at first, then sharper. How long had he known Layla? When was the last time he saw her? Had he spoken to her recently? Marcus was sweating. I was seeing her. We were having an affair. But I didn't kill her." One of the detectives raised an eyebrow. "So you do have a motive?" "I didn't do anything," he insisted. "I haven't seen her since the reunion." "And your wife?" "Ella Thompson." "She left to visit a sick aunt," Marcus said quickly. "She was gone all day Saturday." One of the detectives flipped through his notes. "Funny, her aunt says she hasn't seen Ella in over a year." Marcus's face went pale. In the cafe, Ella turned off her phone completely. She had dropped her car at a storage lot and taken a bus across state lines. She had paid cash for everything. Her bag held a few essentials and a burner phone she hadn't turned on yet. She watched the rain outside the window. Calm. She had told the truth once. She wasn't going to kill Marcus. She wanted him to live, to suffer, to watch his life collapse the way hers did. Now he would be hunted like she once hunted the truth. And soon, he'd be arrested for a murder he didn't commit. It was exactly 6 days after the family gathering when Marcus Thompson was arrested for the murder of Layla James. The detectives had enough. Motive, clear as day. The affair, the texts, the public shame, the rage. Opportunity? He had no proof of where he was during the time of death. Evidence? Layla's phone showed texts and calls between them just hours before she died. When they cuffed him, he didn't fight. Marcus sat in the back of the police cruiser, his head down, his world crashing into dust. His career was over, his marriage destroyed, his reputation stained, and now a murder charge. Still, somewhere deep in his heart, a question burned. Was it her? Was Ella capable of this? Back in a small coastal town 3 states away, Ella sat on a park bench near the water, wrapped in a gray sweater, her hair tied back, face clean of makeup. She looked nothing like the woman who had hosted a family reunion just a week earlier. A few feet away, a little girl fed birds with her mother. A jogger passed by with a golden retriever. Peace surrounded her, but her mind wasn't quiet. She thought of Layla's last words, the pleading, the fear. She thought of Marcus's last expression before she walked out, confused, broken. She thought of the years she had given up, the trust she had poured into a man who chose to bury her worth for a fling with her cousin. She didn't hate herself for what she did. She had cleaned up well, no trace, no trail. In her new town, Ella had introduced herself under a different name, Sarah Ellis. Quiet, friendly, no questions asked. She found a simple job at a flower shop, cash only. She rented a room above an elderly woman's garage. Every morning she walked to the coffee shop, read the paper, and watered the plants at the shop. She had created peace for herself. And Marcus? He was in jail. charged, alone. No one believed him when he said he was innocent. No one believed he was set up. Not after what came out about the affair. Not after the police found his fingerprints in Layla's apartment and dozens of voicemails from her begging him to leave Ella. And Ella, she never once looked back. Only forward. She mailed a letter to Marcus weeks later. No return address, typed, unsigned. Just a single page. You took my love and made it a joke. You shared my blood with someone who shared my name. You shattered everything we built. Now you finally feel what I felt. I didn't kill you, Marcus. I let you live with the weight of it. That's the punishment. Goodbye. Marcus read it again and again in his cold cell, hands shaking. He would never be able to prove it. No one would believe him. The world had already decided. And Ella, she finally had peace. Justice, twisted as it may be, was served.